For thousands of years, seeds were produced naturally by plants. Now they're produced in laboratories. Today, there are two types of GMO made, those that produce their own pesticides and those that resist certain herbicides. But as a result of being exposed to them, weeds and insects develop a resistance to these products. They mutate. In order to get rid of them, you have to use higher doses of chemical products or different pesticides. On top of this, there's the risk of genetic contamination. Through unintended crossbreeding, GMO genes can modify the genetic code of other organisms. And that's not to mention the fact that there's no reliable study on the long-term impacts of GMOs on health. Big agrochemical companies are also trying to control seed distribution around the world. Patents are being granted on seeds and other life forms. If a farmer wants to replant, he will be obliged to repurchase seeds and the weed killer that goes with them, not to mention other pesticides. The exclusion from seed production makes the farmer totally dependent financially.
There are some disadvantages. Firstly, could the gene spread into other species of plant? Could the toxin be harmful to humans when the plant is eaten? And finally, will the toxin kill useful insects such as pollinators? This would mean that other plants may not get pollinated. Let's look at another example of a genetically modified crop. This maize is genetically modified. Scientists transferred in a gene, making the maize resistant to chemicals called herbicides. Weed killers are an example of herbicides. Herbicides normally kill plants, so if the farmer sprays this field with herbicide, then the herbicide will kill every plant apart from the genetically modified maize. This would mean that the GM maize will not have to compete with weeds for water and nutrients from the soil. So to summarize, here are the concerns around GM crops. Firstly, will the introduced gene spread into other species of plants? Remember that we cannot control how insects spread pollen from one plant to another. If the gene does pass into a different species of plant, we cannot be certain of the effects. Secondly, will the introduced gene be harmful to humans if they eat the plant? Because of these concerns, GM crops are extensively tested before being used.